Good morrow, friends. It is I, the friendly village pyromaniac known as BonOakley, and on this day I shall speak my mind about the weaponized thrower of flames known as the Fury of the Dragons. Okay, you know, I can't keep that up. So, today's topic is something that a lot of other YouTubers have argued over, and that is the Dragon's Fury. A lot of people have put their 2 cents in on the weapon, talking about how broken it is, how overpowered the weapon is, or in a few cases, how the weapon is actually quite balanced. In this video, I'll be discussing my views on the weapon and whether it needs to be fixed or if it's good enough as it stands. For people who don't know the Dragon's Fury stats for some reason, primary fire launches a quick short range fireball projectile that inflicts around 25 to 30 damage depending on the distance between you and the enemy. If they're already on fire, it will do 300% damage to them, which is essentially a critical hit. As well as dealing damage upon a successful hit, it will also increase the repressurization rate by 50%, making it slightly quicker to hit them with another shot. However, when trying to air blast, the repressurization rate will be decreased by 50%, which will make it take longer to fire another shot after attempting an air blast. Like the other flamethrowers, it is capable of doing afterburn, and when firing at enemy pyros, the afterburn lasts just long enough so that it counts as doing 300% damage. Now let's get into the opinion. Ooh, scary. In all fairness, I see it more like a cannon weapon rather than a flamethrower, seeing as how it shoots a projectile, sort of like the loose cannon. And to be honest, I think it's fairly balanced. Whoa, before you leave your comment saying, of course a pyromane thinks it's balanced, dislike, go play a better class for take skill, noob. Number 1, how dare you? And number 2, I didn't just plan on giving my opinions. Before I explain my thoughts, I think I should allow some other TF2 YouTubers and players to share their opinions, considering most of them don't main pyro like me. So, take it away guys.
The Dragon's Fury is a good weapon if you can hit your shots. But if you can't hit them, like the little piece of shit that is my brother, well, it's not gonna work. You'll not like it, and you're not gonna be effective with it.
My opinion on Dragon's Fury coming from a heavy main is that the Dragon's Fury isn't overpowered in the long run because it requires accuracy and precision, but it does have an advantage over heavies due to them having the biggest hitbox in the game and their slow movement, making them an easy kill for pyros and being a very unfair advantage.
Overall, the Dragon's Fury is one of the most skill-based flamethrowers. Instead of relying on particles, it relies on projectiles. And considering its air blast cooldown, it's hard for them to reflect anything continuously against soldiers, demos, and huntsmen.
The Dragon's Fury is like the Phlogistinator. It gives more potential with more risky play. It's very good at taking down groups of enemies and even better at taking down sentries, but its projectile type allows enemies to dodge it and easily stand back.
What do I think of the Dragon's Fury? I think it's decent, but the projectile is too big and the instant reload is pretty overpowered. I mean, it's either one or the other. Have a big projectile but don't have the reload speed, or have a smaller projectile and have the reload speed. No, but not both.
Hello gentlemen and gentle ladies, my name is Sir Stanger, and personally I feel that the Dragon's Fury is maybe just the slightest bit too strong right now. I do feel like it's relatively balanced, but I think they could maybe tone down the damage a little bit to make it feel a little bit more fair to fight against. It definitely takes more skill to use than most of the other flamethrowers because you have to really aim with it, but it doesn't require that much aim, so I would like to maybe see the damage numbers toned down just a little bit, but I'm also not too upset with it in its current state, so take that as you will.
There were some interesting opinions there. Now that you know the variety of players' thoughts on it, let me explain why I think it's balanced. Not perfectly balanced, but balanced enough to be fair in most areas. So let's talk about the first complaint, the fact that it's too strong. Now let's look at this, 30 damage on hit, not that much, but hitting the enemy that's already on fire does about 90 damage. So let's consider the fact to be hit with this, you have to be really close to a pyro already. Now what is pyro good at? Doing huge damage at close range. So yeah, it's technically your fault to be that close to a pyro. Taking this into account, let's compare this to the direct hit, essentially a straight upgrade to stock most of the time. It does 25% more damage than a normal rocket launcher, making it perfect if you can hit shots most of the time. As far as I know, the direct hit isn't considered overpowered. To me, the Dragon's Fury is essentially the pyro's version of the direct hit. While doing less damage, the Fury rewards the player with more damage for consecutive hits, which is still less than what the direct hit does. And like I previously said, this is more of a cannon than a flamethrower, as you actually have to aim in order to be rewarded. If you are good with it, you manage to go through more enemies quicker, whereas if you miss often, the repressurization rate will punish you by not letting the player shoot as often. Again, the direct hit essentially does the same, as missing consecutive shots means less damage, if not no damage at all due to the smaller hit radius. So if doing massive damage by doing well with the direct hit is alright, then how come doing well with the Dragon's Fury is considered OP, huh? The direct hit is also known as being pretty good at taking down sentries and other buildings quite easily. The Pyro on the other hand is, well, they're bad at taking down buildings. Well, they used to be before the Dragon's Fury was available. The Fury is without a doubt the #1 primary weapon to use for Pyro when you want to take down a sentry nest. Each fireball deals 75 damage to the sentry, so with the sentry having 216 health at level 3, it will only take 3 shots to take it down. People will argue that the Pyro was never supposed to deal with engineers' buildings well, but to that I say, spies should have never had the tools available to deal with Pyros well either. Spicicle. But yeah, medics now have more reason to uber a Pyro now they have a good nest destroying utility weapon. Talking about rewarding and punishing, most experienced Pyros know that air blasting is a good tactic to learn, seeing as how it can save you and your team in a lot of situations. The Dragon's Fury plays with that mechanic by making seasoned Pyro players, and of course other players, learn new timings. With other flamethrowers you can air blast quite frequently, however with the Fury you have to know when to air blast and when not to. Me personally, I like to air blast willy-nilly when confronting a soldier or demo man, but with the Fury you have to get used to the slower firing rate for air blasts. If you want to spam M2, well, too bad, you can't. It makes you think about the right time to air blast and whether it's worth it or not. I'm not saying this doesn't apply to the other flamethrowers, but the Dragon's Fury certainly makes it harder for pyros who like to reflect projectiles a lot. Being a projectile sort of weapon, it opens up more ways to play for the pyro. Instead of being a constant blast of flames, it's just a huge fireball now. What is real under that mask? Pyro's identity confirmed, cool game theory. Anyway, now that it's the big projectile, this means as a pyro yourself you can actually deal with other pyros slightly better than usual. Remember that air blast thing I mentioned already? Well, now you can air blast a fireball back. You can't do that when dealing with other flamethrowers now, can you? So this means instead of having to run around each other in a pyro on pyro battle, you can potentially have the upper hand if your enemy uses the Dragon's Fury. Now, it's certainly not perfect, of course. For some odd reason, the hitboxes are all messed up. If someone's behind you, you can still hit them regardless, which is so strange. How is it possible before releasing a new weapon you miss such a huge oversight? And around payloads for some reason you can sometimes not hit enemies on the other side, and also you can shoot through setup gates depending on the angle you're at. There is a lot wrong with the Dragon's Fury that needs to get fixed, but overall I think it is a balanced weapon. Like I said in my first impressions video, I feel like the Dragon's Fury will become much easier to deal with once there isn't 8 pyros on each team. As a pyro main myself, I do get annoyed when I want to play as pyro, but when I enter a server there's too many already on my team. So on behalf of all the decent pyro mains out there, I apologise for the pain you all must be going through, but trust me, it'll get better. Well, hopefully. But hey, of course I know there'll be people who disagree completely with me, so let me know your feelings on the weapon down below. I read all of your comments and I appreciate every like and comment I get, even the negative ones, weirdly enough. But as always, this has been your friendly neighbourhood Pirate BonOakley, and I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.